Let's assume you have a new boyfriend or crush, and you want him to be completely obsessed with you. Like you want him to think about you all the time, craving your presence like nothing else. You want him to revolve around you day and night, and you want him to prioritize you over everything else. And as a woman, you already know this is something very hard to get. But what if I tell you it's not only possible, but quite easy if you know the deep psychology hacks? Very few people are aware of these methods. And that's why, in the next few minutes, I shall reveal 7 secret psychological ways to get your man deeply obsessed with you. Now, these hidden tricks directly hit the psychology of men and allow you to take your love life to the next level, so let's begin right away. Number 7. Understanding the power of mystery. Have you ever noticed how a little bit of mystery in people instantly makes them way more attractive? It's not just the way they are better looking or have a charming personality. It often comes down to the air of mystery they create while talking. It means they don't spill everything right away. They expose a little about themselves and keep the rest a secret for you to wonder. Now, that's a secret trick that you can use to get your man deeply obsessed. To understand it better, see this scenario. Imagine you are reading a novel and the first chapter is about to end. The story is getting interesting and a lot of the questions are about to unfold when the chapter suddenly ends. Now, there are a lot of mysteries in your mind that are not answered, and it's all in the first chapter. This makes you think about the novel and its story a lot more than if you read the whole novel. The more you think about them, the better the novel gets a hold of you. That's how the power of mystery works, and this works just like that in humans too. Let's say you meet a man who seems very interesting. You get to have a cup of coffee with him, and in these 5 to 10 minutes, he literally spills everything about himself, from who he is to what he does and what his interests are. Now what happens to you is that he realizes, and you realizes, well, that the whole situation is not very attractive anymore. Now that you know everything about him, he seems like an average person. Contrary to this, you meet another man, but he is very careful with his words. Everything he says opens doors to more secrets that you want to explore. This aura of mystery creates intrigue in you, and this makes him incredibly attractive. Now, my point is, if you do the same, create an air of mystery around yourself, you will always be way more attractive to your boyfriend or your crush, and he will be pulled towards you with a desire to explore more about you. Guys are naturally curious creatures, and when you keep a bit about yourself under wraps, it invites him to figure you out. He'll start asking questions, wanting to know more about your life, your dreams, and what makes you tick. But the question is, how can you effectively use this psychological hack and create an air of mystery around you? Well, it's quite simple. Here is how you can do it. First of all, understand that these are not negative mind games. It is a positive way to get your man's attention. Secondly, learn to share everything in bits and pieces. Instead of telling him the whole story from A to Z, just give him a little bit and let him wonder about the rest. For example, if you are about to go to a movie theater with your college friends, just tell your man that you are going there with your friends. Don't give away information like how many are coming with you, or what are their names, which movie you're going to watch, and when you'll be back. These things need to stay hidden from him to wonder. The more he thinks about them, the more his thoughts will stay on you, making him even more obsessed. Number 6. Mix pleasure with pain. Have you ever noticed how some relationships seem to pull you in, even when they come with their fair share of drama? There's a pretty good reason for that. It's a combination of both the pleasure and the pain in a relationship. Now, it may sound like a negative thing to you ladies, like how can pain be the reason for attracting your crush? Well, let me explain quickly. Being nice and charming works very well in the early days of a relationship, but soon it gets outdated. Trying too hard to impress or make him happy makes you insecure, so here's what you need to do. Let's say it's been a month of pleasurable relationships. Now it's time to pull back a little bit so he doesn't start taking you for granted. Maybe create a bit of tension, like asking questions on why he doesn't like your interests. Make him feel guilty and maybe try a bit of psychological and emotional distance. Build that tension between a relationship only to become very polite and nice once again. What it does is that when he experiences the pain, your earlier nice and kinder version feels so good and attractive to him. Now, how does creating a pleasure and pain cycle actually work? Well, think of it like a roller coaster. When you go up at a distance from the floor, well, it feels so horrible for a second, but then coming back down again close to the floor just feels just as good. If everything is always smooth and predictable, well, it's easy for feelings to become stagnant. So, the emotions should always stay high if you want your man to stay obsessive. But how can you create this cycle of pleasure and pain? Well, one way is to pull back from an argument. Silence is the most powerful answer. So instead of arguing with him for hours, just leave the room and make him feel your presence and warmth that you bring to the table. After this distance, he will appreciate your kindness and closeness even more. If he does something wrong, don't just let it slip. Make an issue out of it, and when he finally understands that it's his fault, maybe, only then bring the kindness thing back into the game. The most important thing here is that there is a perfect balance. What most women do is that they bring too much pain, which negatively impacts their relationship. So, half pleasure and half pain. When done right, he will start taking you more seriously than ever before. Number 5. Build emotional connection. Do you know examples of a few couples whose relationships just seem unbreakable and they always act like one unit no matter how hard the situation is? Well, that's because they have a strong emotional connection and chemistry that only they can understand. While physical attraction is essential for the initial connection, you need to create an emotional connection just as well to make sure your man stays obsessed with you in the long run. But what that does, building an emotional connection and all that mean? Maybe you've experienced something like the one I'm about to explain. Think of those times when you lost track of time in sharing thoughts, fears, and dreams with each other. Think of the times that you shared your secrets and he shared all of his secrets with you. Imagine you two stop judging each other no matter what you find out about each other. Imagine talking about all of your worries and problems in front of him, and it gives you relief and comfort. Think about how you feel so safe and mentally at peace around him. Now that's the kind of connection that men are attracted to. And when you have this kind of emotional connection, it leaves lasting marks and keeps you both together even after a lot of drama in your relationship. The reason guys are so vulnerable to emotional connection is that it taps into their instincts of being valued and understood. When a woman creates a space where he can feel like he is valued, or when he realizes she as a human depends on him, he begins to see her in a completely different light. This creates a sense of security and intimacy, making him an obsessed person. So the question is, how are you going to build an emotional connection with the man that you love? Well, it's not rocket science. It's all about being there when he needs you. Just listen to him when he wants to share something and give your genuine suggestions. Laugh when he makes a joke and respond in the same manner. Build an emotional connection with a physical connection as well, like light touches and intimacy. Most importantly, compromises can sometimes be made in the relationship. And try being in his shoes when you want or you can't understand some of his actions or words. And if he says something hurtful once or twice, try to ignore it and stay positive instead of responding in the same negative tone. When you focus on building that kind of closeness, he'll start feeling like you're more than just someone he likes. You'll start being someone that he really cares about, keeping in his life. Number 4. Reignite the spark. Ladies, you see, a relationship doesn't stay all excitement, romance, and emotions all the time. After some times, it is common to have ups and downs in life as a couple, but that doesn't mean all is lost and your man doesn't love you anymore. All those feelings are inside him, and you just need to bring them out and reignite the spark in your relationship. So let's see what an old relationship may look like and how you can get some of that same spark back again. Think about this. At first, you both can't wait to hear from each other. Every date feels like an adventure, and every conversation feels like a romantic movie with emotional music in the background. Then, a few months or years down the line, the conversations become a bit more predictable, and you can't feel the same excitement about talking or meeting as you used to have earlier. If this is happening to you, Don't get the wrong idea and never think that your love is lost. This stage is common in every relationship, and you can have your same loving man back with a little bit of a kick. Reigniting the spark is about bringing back some of that unpredictability and excitement that makes things so thrilling in the beginning. Successfully doing it and making your man love you as he used to in the early stages of the relationship. But how can you reignite that spark once it is gone? Well, it is actually much easier than it looks. Firstly, it's about making an effort to surprise each other. Making surprises and trying new things together, like maybe a new hobby or a date at an unexpected place, like in a more natural spot, instead of a restaurant. Switch up your routines once in a while and explore new things together. Most importantly, keep reminding each other why you fell in love in the first place. Even little changes, like dressing up for no reason or leaving a sweet note for him, can bring back those butterflies. So, maybe also try some new physical stuff as well, like new experiences in bed. Number 3. Long-distance obsession. Ladies, creating too much distance is not a good thing. Indeed, long-distance relationships can definitely put a strain on things. Being miles apart makes it easy for the connection to feel weaker, and the lack of physical presence can create doubts and insecurities. But just because you're not close in distance doesn't mean that you can't keep that spark alive and even make him more obsessed with you. In fact, being apart can actually work in your favor if you know how to play it right. Let me tell you why a distant relationship may work if you do it right. When you're not around him all the time, he'll start to miss you more, and that feeling of longing can make him think about you constantly. But the thing is to use the distance to your advantage. Create moments that he'll look forward to, like a regular video call date or surprising him with a handwritten letter. Even the little things like sending a voice message when you know that he's having a tough day or sharing pictures from your life can make him feel closer to you, despite the miles between you. The mystery of not knowing everything about each other's day can keep the intrigue alive, and it gives him a reason to keep wondering about you, to miss your presence, and to appreciate the time that you do spend together, even if it's through a screen. By keeping some things a little mysterious or surprising, he'll feel like there's always more to learn about you, keeping his interest high. And that anticipation for the next call, visit, or message can turn that distance into something that keeps him thinking about you constantly. The trick is to not make him feel like he's losing you just because you're far apart. Instead, let him know that he's important to you while also keeping a bit of space for him to miss you. When he sees that he's not the center of your world but still a big part of it, it creates a balance where he's always wondering what you're up to and counting down the days until he can be close to you again. Number 2. Create a memorable connection. Now, let me ask you a question. Do you have some memories from your childhood that you can never forget? Like cooking with your grandma, playing in the sand with your childhood buddies, doing makeup on your father's face, and fighting with your siblings over sweets. Some memories are so good that they just imprint on your mind and they never go away. But why am I telling you all this? Well, because these kind of memories also play a big role in a relationship's success. And if you create them with your partner, well, then these things that stick with him, they're going to be making him think of you even when you're not around. Creating this kind of connection means being genuine and showing your unique side and letting those real, unplanned moments happen. Creating such moments brings good feelings that ultimately become good memories. When you are not around, the man doesn't get those feelings and he starts to associate those memories and feelings with you. It not only makes him smile, but that way he realizes how your presence plays a significant role in his happiness. In short, he thinks about you and acts more obsessed afterward. Now, how and what kind of memories can you create with your man? Well, let me give you some examples to help you get an idea. Plan something out of the ordinary, like a spontaneous day trip, a hike, or even trying a new hobby together, like painting or cooking a new recipe. Have a special hangout spot, a hidden one, like maybe a hill in the woods that gives a beautiful view of nature, or that high tower where you can see the whole city, or it could be as simple as a coffee shop that you both love going to. You may also bring humor into the conversations. Try inside jokes from television series or his favorite shows, And humor is always a great way to create memories. Another way is creating memories with specific songs or a playlist. You see, good songs can cause an overload of emotions, and we associate them mostly with our lovers. So yeah, he'll think about you whenever he listens to that specific song or even the whole playlist. There are many ways, like creating little traditions on specific days that stay between you two, or gifting each other personalized items. It's up to you, your taste, and your situation, and how you create that memorable connection with your man. Number 1. Use subtle psychological triggers. Lastly, ladies, what if I tell you that you can get your man obsessed with a little subtle psychological trick? What does that mean? Well, it's about tapping into your man's subconscious, making him feel that he has a strong connection with you. There are a few powerful methods that can make him feel that extra pull towards you, like social proof, scarcity, and reciprocity. The social proof is all about showing him that people love and respect you. A man's psyche is that he pays more attention to someone who is loved and respected by everyone. When he sees that other people enjoy your company, it creates a spark of attraction. The second thing is scarcity, which essentially is about wanting someone who is either too scarce or very hard to get. It means you create a distance by not replying to him right away, or staying absent for a few days. Men are naturally drawn to women that are hard to come by. The last psychological trigger, which is often the most powerful one as well, is the reciprocity trigger. What is it about? Well, when someone does something kind for you, isn't it true that you feel a strong need to return the same kind of favor? That's reciprocity at work. And what I'm implying is that you can do kind things for him or give him some favors. These little actions never go unnoticed, and he'll feel a subtle urge to reciprocate that effort, which makes him feel closer to you. And as he puts more energy into the relationship, he'll find himself more invested in you.